Hi guys, Harbs here. Today we're going to be breaking down the Spelljammer Reveal trailer, as well as some of the images of the books and maps and a few of the WizKids miniatures that have been previewed, as I think they might provide some hints to the upcoming Spelljammer adventure. I'll be going over some theories and explaining everything along the way. In case you're interested, I recently got the chance to ask Jeff Grubb, the original creator of the Spelljammer setting, some questions, and I've linked that video down below. If you'd like to join up to become a channel member, sign up to the Patreon, or be a part of the Discord, then they're also all linked down below. Okay, let's go. So before we get into the meat of it, it's important to note that the CEO of Wizards of the Coast has basically confirmed that Spelljammer will be doing away with phlogiston, which was the typical method of travelling between crystal spheres in 2nd edition. It was a highly flammable cloud of colours that one could effectively traverse their Spelljammer through in order to arrive at other worlds, which were usually housed in said crystal spheres, allowing places like Greyhawk and the Forgotten Realms settings to keep their own cosmologies and deities while still existing somewhat in the same universe. It'll be interesting to see how Wizards of the Coast handle long space travel through the Astral Sea, but I have a feeling that they'll be keeping crystal spheres, as we'll see in the video. So the trailer starts off with what appears to be a half-elf at the helm of a ship going steadily through the Astral Sea. However, it isn't the first time that we've seen him. He also appears in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, and is artwork for a class and organisation of wizards called Order of Scribes, which I assume is what this symbol represents, albeit in Tasha's he's a human. I won't go over all the final details of this, but in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything, the Order is described as follows. Among wizards, the Order of Scribes is the most bookish. It takes many forms in different worlds, but its primary mission is the same everywhere: recording magical discoveries so that wizardry can flourish. And while all wizards value spellbooks, a wizard in the Order of Scribes magically awakens their book, turning it into a trusted companion. All wizards study books, but a wizardly scribe talks to theirs. He then looks at a hologram, which might be his parents eagerly expecting him to return home. Note that once more we can see the same symbol and what is likely a miniature giant space hamster. He then makes his way through the deck and we come across this character, who I first thought was a moon elf, but again this is someone that appears in Tasha's Cauldron of Everything and is labelled as a drow bard of eloquence, which are described as adherents of the College of Eloquence, masters of the art of oratory. These bards wield a blend of logic and theatrical wordplay, winning over skeptics and detractors with logical arguments and plucking at heartstrings to appeal to the emotions of audiences. There is quite a significant difference in the artwork here, given that in the Spelljammer Reveal, her spider brooch has been replaced with an anchor, as has the symbol on her dagger, so this one here likely isn't a follower of Lolth. As the camera pans out, we can see a GIF hauling an anchor, and this GIF has a striking resemblance to one of the WizKids figurines called Major Warwick Blastimoff. Note the medals on the right side of the chest and the same coloured shirt. The GIF themselves have mysterious origins, and Christopher Perkins elaborates on this by saying the following.
The GIF, or GIF, are a race of hippo-headed folk who don't know where they came from, not sure where they're going, they're looking for home in all the wrong places.
Just past the GIF, we can see a Hadozi, which is a race that's been around since the original Spelljammer, but was reintroduced in 2021 within Unearthed Arcana as a testable playable race, alongside the GIF, which already existed in the Monster Manual in 5th edition, but without playable rules. The Hadozi played an important part in an event called the Inhuman Wars within original Spelljammer, serving alongside elves. However, it's not clear what will and won't be considered canon in this new version of Spelljammer. Anyway, as the trailer continues, we then get to our first look at the Rock of Bral, which has been described on Amazon as an asteroid city that can serve as both an adventure location and a campaign hub. I get the feeling that as Wizards of the Coast continue to blur the lines between settings, having these central hubs will become very important to D&D. The Rock of Bral was described in 3rd edition's Forgotten Realms campaign setting as being part of one of the asteroids that make up the Tears of Selûne. This is also confirmed in Spelljammer adventures like Under the Dark Fist. However, I very much doubt that this would be the case in 5th edition Spelljammer, given its description on Amazon and the way Wizards are moving away from previously established canon. Early Spelljammer products gave a more general description to the Rock of Bral. Rock of Bral is specifically designed to have no particular location. It fits well with virtually any crystal sphere of the Spelljammer adventure universe, and can be placed in the Dungeon Master's own campaign space with little or no impact on the substance of this book. So, the ship is sailing for the Rock of Bral, with the protagonist eyeing what might be his parents. We can see the same symbol as before very clearly now on both of these characters. Interestingly, the artist responsible for these wonderful images has published some of the sketch studies that didn't get approved on ArtStation, and we can see the main character with what is likely his wife and son, and then another image of these two characters here with a boy and this space hamster on top of his head. The finished product of the hologram is labelled as his family. A message in a bottle smashes during this scene, revealing a map to the crew. The first thing that stands out is in the lower right corner of the map, labelled Dead God, otherwise known as a vestige. This dead god seems to be pointing to a large red X, which also seems to be the end of a trail marked in red ink. Just to the left of this red cross is a solar system surrounded by a circle, with text upon it that I can't quite make out. This could be a crystal sphere, with this area here being wild space. Okay, let's take a quick look at the shots that follow. Here we can see a pirate Githyanki accompanied by their traditional red dragon. Dead illithids are on the side of this Spelljammer. This is a squid ship traditionally used by humans and lizard folk in the original Spelljammer. Here we have a Kindori, a space whale, and they are usually peaceful creatures that can become violent when threatened. Some have been domesticated by space barbarians, and for sustenance they soak in the rays of suns. Here we have the same character stealing a boatload of gold, whilst maybe getting chased by an Aster Eater. That name. Obviously the Nautiloid is pretty dominant here, keeping the same organic tentacles that we've seen in Baldur's Gate 3, and then there is a Void Scabber, which is a spaceborne shark-like creature that appears to be chasing a group of gossamers. Next up we have what appears to be a solar dragon, and then a dead god, and then finally a shot of the whole crew with a Kindori, and red dragons going into what looks like a huge fiery area. I wondered after watching the reveal a couple of times whether the images depicted the route shown to us on the map. We perhaps start in a crystal sphere where the Rock of Bral might be, and then they pass through an area with the solar dragon. This dead god here looks exactly like the one on the map, and then there are also references to the Kindori with a big X, which might be where they finally end up. It would be cool if these guys do appear officially in the sourcebook. The WizKids figurines do make out that at least one member of the crew is an actual named character. On Amazon we can see part of the map of the Rock of Bral, so let's dig into some of it. One thing that stood out to me immediately is the Happy Beholder, which seems like they've changed the name of a tavern originally called the Laughing Beholder, owned by a famous beholder called Large Luigi. If it is the same place, then it seems odd that they've changed the name like this, especially to something so similar. The majority of the places on the map seem very faithful to the original Rock of Bral and all featured in Richard Baker's sourcebook from 1992. Given that we can see the library of the spheres here, it's likely that Wizards of the Coast will still be using the concept of the crystal spheres, even if they are doing away with phlogiston. The adventure Light of Xaryxis has been described by Christopher Perkins as containing 12 adventures set in the Astral Sea, with each one ending in a cliffhanger. However, there will be a prequel adventure released for free in July. Now, we don't know much about the Light of Xaryxis, but it does appear as if this person here is an astral elf, who were introduced during Unearthed Arcana last year, with what appears to be a solar dragon. We can also see an elven spelljammer known as a Man-O-War out of this window here. Man-O-Wars were described as the workhorse of the Elven Imperial Navy in the original Spelljammer. However, I'm not sure how much lore has been changed in 5th edition, given that astral elves didn't exist back then. My feeling is that these astral elves are simply just the elves of Spelljammer, as they're described as follows.
6 new playable race options. The Astral Elves.
These are elves with starlight in their eyes. They've left the Feywild and they want to go be in space.
On the alternate cover, we can see this blonde elf, and this might match up to a WizKids figurine called Prince Zelith. that appears to be another astral elf. In fact, there are a few characters in the WizKids collection that might be related to the adventure, as they have specific names. We have a Flumph called Flapjack, Major Warwick Blastimoff, who we have already seen, Hastane, and Captain Eleanor Sartell. Interestingly, there was a character from 1992 called Hastane on the Rock of Bral. They were a Riga, which is actually an androgynous race of humanoids. Known as Lord Hastane, this original lived in a villa near the Edge and frequently hosted bizarre parties. Few people knew that Hastane was also a master of war and a legendary tactician, serving as a bitter mercenary leader before coming to Bral. Okay, that's all I'm going to be covering in this video. If you enjoyed it, then do please give me a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye!